Hey everybody, welcome to Inside the Yankees. I'm Bob Lorenz. Over the course of the next half hour, we're going to bring you exclusive coverage of the New York Yankees on and off the field. To kick things off, we'll shine the spotlight on the bullpen and go in-depth with starting pitcher Carlos Rodon. We'll also take a look at one of the Yanks' newest acquisitions, Max Fried. Throughout the show, we'll bring you the best of the Yankees' social media posts as well. But as promised, here's a closer look at the bullpen.
The Yankees pounce in making a really splashy and bold move to add Devin Williams.
This is a name we're all familiar with.
Devin Williams is one of the best relievers in baseball.
Williams will be your closer, but Luke Weaver moved into a massively prominent spot for that bullpen as well.
It's a really special feeling. There's only a handful of guys that have ever gotten to put this jersey on, and I'm really grateful to be one of them.
Someone that we've tried to acquire for a number of years, and I'm sure we weren't the only bidders.
Essentially a two-pitch pitcher with that four-seam fastball, but then with a changeup that's so special, it has its own name.
The Airbender.
The Airbender.
The Airbender changeup, whatever that thing is, it is a unique and very special pitch.
It's a pitch you don't really see a lot. He's got a really high spin changeup that looks like a left-handed slider, to be honest. Guys that have big pitches like that usually have a hard time locating them, but he can put it, really wherever he wants, and ultimately that's a separator for him pitching late in games.
I've always had a good changeup, but I was doing live ABs with Trent Grisham in 2019, and he said that he could tell the difference between the spin on my changeup and my fastball in the middle of that bat. So I just switched it, and now it is what it is.
Weave's ready for the moment. He's just sitting there waiting for the ball to get tossed to him.
The unicorn just really took to the bullpen last year, and by year's end was our closer, was as dominant a closer as there was. The final month and into the postseason was so good for us. Tremendous strike thrower, but also outstanding stuff with that really high-riding fastball, the cutter, and an outstanding changeup, and the heart of a lion out there. He'll serve many roles for us. I'm sure there'll be some games he even closes out for us, but he's going to be a guy we rely on heavily.
When he's in the game, he's 100% on fire and wanting to dominate. Having Luke is a blessing for sure.
He's got a great demeanor. He's got a great work ethic. He wants to be the best. Was more than happy to move back into that hybrid setup role.
Moved his fastball around, adjusted his changeup. His role kind of got more important as the year went on, taking some big, long innings and then turning into the closer down the stretch. But, I think for him, just this point in his career to continue to adapt and evolve is enormous for him.
It's hard to transition in different areas. You ask questions, you find ways to get there most efficiently. Ultimately, you got to go out there and pitch and break bad habits and trust the mindset or the physical things that you're trying to change, along with trying to get people out. There's some growing pains, but ultimately, I take pride in being able to be versatile. And if that's what gives me the most success and helps the team, then that's a space we'll live in and be happy with.
The spin that he gets on that changeup is unlike any other changeup that we will see. Last year, more than 40 inches of vertical drop, about 20 inches of horizontal break.
He's got big fastball that's calling hard. I know he's been a cutter here and there.
A lot of the swings that we saw, they were so uncomfortable, so out in front. When you know it's coming and you're looking for it in the batter's box, you are still going to be fooled.
I think he's going to be a great addition. We've had a lot of really, really good closers here in the 16 years I've been here. So, I'm looking forward to working with him. But the fact of the matter is he's really, really good against lefties, and we have some really, really good lefties, especially in our division and in this league.
Weaver and Williams at the back end of that bullpen. Both of them have devastating changeups. And as a catcher, when a right-handed reliever came into a ball game, you needed weapons to get a lefty out as well as a righty. The changeup neutralizes both sides of the plate.
You know, we play to win, and you know that's the expectation here every year. So there's pressure, but you know, pressure is a privilege, and I'm lucky to be here.
Carlos Rodon, opening day starter for the New York Yankees. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
In the grand scheme of things, it's just one game in a very long season. How do you kind of make sure that you don't make too much of it?
Well, first impressions are always big, right, to start off a season. It's just one of those things I want to go out there and just give my team the best chance to win and perform. Just focus on the task at hand kind of thing.
Are there any opening day jitters? Do you think there'll be
Oh
any
yeah,
opening day
I mean
jitters?
it's always a bunch of fun, right? I mean, especially in Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, it's gonna be happening. It's gonna be loud. But yeah, there's always jitters. It's the first game of the year and it's exciting.
How do you describe the noise the fans bring in the Bronx?
I mean, it's awesome. Those World Series games we had there were electric. Obviously, unfortunately, we came up short, but I mean, the atmosphere was everything I dreamed of, and I'm sure everything that my teammates dreamed of as well.
How much do you think that helps you thrive? Does that motivate you?
For me, it helps me a lot. You know, I have to channel that energy, of course, because you know it can lead me astray at times. But for me, I love it. I love it.
You mentioned the World Series last year.
Yeah.
As we know, it did not go as planned. When you look inside that clubhouse, what do you think the feeling is, knowing you guys were so close last year in trying to get back there?
I would say we're pretty hungry. Coming up short last year was just it was tough. You know, we made it there, but winning is a whole different thing, and it's just extra motivation to see the Dodgers celebrate on our own field. So it stings a little bit for sure.
Let's talk Brewers. What concerns you about that lineup? Have you even looked at it yet?
You know, I know they can swing it. They have a quality team. They put together quality at bats. They play good baseball. I mean, they're a playoff team for sure, and it's gonna be fun.
When you look at the Yankees, the way they're situated this year, just how do you feel about this year's team?
You know, if we've added some pieces, I think a lot of guys are hungry to get back to where we were last year. I'm just excited for the season to start and see where this team goes, honestly.
Is there any added pressure? You guys are down 2 starters already in Garrett Cole and Luis Gil.
Those are 2 very good arms that
Yeah,
we're
right.
missing, unfortunately, but it's part of the game. It's next man up, kind of. Someone needs to step up in a role, and the rest of us carry our weight and just go play baseball.
Last year, you made 32 starts. It seemed like you took a significant step. You added a little bit to your repertoire, throwing your changeup and your curveball a little bit more. How much growth do you think there was in your game last year?
Yeah, I think it was one of those things, obviously a rough June, kind of opened my eyes where I had to you know, diversify the arsenal and start using some different pitches and pitching a little different, adding some pitchability, becoming a more complete pitcher. You know, in that second half, I pitched pretty well and learned a lot. Learned a lot about pitching and using different sequences, and just trying to carry that into this year.
You look at that changeup in particular, the usage up significantly, opposing batters hitting just 188 against it. What made that pitch so good for you?
I had a lot of help with that pitch, you know, from our staff, that they put in the time for the pitch design, and you know, they found the grip for me. I took it and ran with it and got comfortable with it, and I just kept throwing it, and then the only way to get better with it is just to keep throwing it. So that's kind of where it led to, and here we are with, you know, a fairly decent changeup now.
I also see you talking a lot with a former Yankees pitcher.
Yeah.
He is technically part of the coaching staff as well, in Andy Pettitte. How has that relationship helped you on the mound?
Andy's so great. He's great for all of us. It was, you know, we had him around last year during the postseason the whole time, and he's just, you know, with the experience he brings, he won a lot in his career,
Right.
as we know. He's so personable. It's easy guy to talk to, and obviously the knowledge he brings to the table, especially in those big games. So it's awesome to have him around. You know, selfishly I want him around every day, but I know that's not always a possibility. But it's such a treat when he comes around.
Have you asked him? Have you told him that?
Yeah, he knows. He knows.
What's the single best piece of advice he has given you so far?
Man, I think a lot of it has to do with, you know, we talk about mental stuff as far as just, you know, like I said, my brain kind of gets astray and gets with the crowd and gets with the energy of the game, and it's just bringing my mind back to center. It's just one of those things like that can happen, but we got to know we got to get back to the task at hand. That's kind of some of the things we talk about. It's one of the biggest things he's hit with me.
Talk about the mental approach. We talked about some of the growth last year. What would you like to accomplish this year?
Start every game, make every start, and let the rest handle itself. Obviously, mentally, and just stay focused, stay within myself, and don't get too high, don't get too low, kind of one of those things.
Welcome back to Inside the Yankees. Max Fried's signing in the offseason made an already strong rotation even more dangerous. The lefty's hoping to make a splash in his first season in pinstripes. So let's take a closer look at the California native.
Max, how much are you looking forward to making your pinstripe debut in the Bronx?
I'm really excited. Being able to put the pinstripes on in Yankee Stadium, since the day that I agreed and signed, I've been looking forward to it.
Why is that meaningful to you to wear pinstripes?
I mean, the Yankees are a storied franchise. It's the same uniforms that have been worn from the beginning. So they're iconic, and I'm excited to be able to put them on.
You talk about it being a storied franchise. We've had a lot of players here at spring training coming back to talk to you guys. You're able to pick their brains, like a Roger Clemens, Andy Pettitte. How valuable has that been for you so far?
It's been incredible, just being able to pick those guys' brains. They did it for so long, and it's not a coincidence that they had the success that they did. So to be able to take in as much information as I possibly can, it's been a blast, and I'm excited to just get into the weeds more, and I feel like it's only scratching the surface.
Anything they've said to you so far that's really clicked?
I think it's just more base level stuff, getting to know each other, what they thought about going into a start, how they went about things, and just trying to pick their brains as much as I can and see if I can take a thing or two just to implement into my game.
What do you think about going into a start?
Way too much. Way too much. For me, it's just preparing and making sure that I feel confident that when I take the ball and I step onto the field that I'm prepared, I'm ready, and that any situation that arises in the game that I'll be ready for.
You've had success elsewhere, obviously, but what are your expectations personally this year?
Go out and win as many games as I possibly can. Just if I take the ball, that I want to be able to make sure that we have a really good chance to win that day, and I'm keeping the team in it. Just be able to string together a few hits, get some runs, and at the end of the day, if we win, I did my job.
You look at this rotation as a whole, it has obviously taken some major hits. No Garrett Cole for the season, Luis Heel out for the foreseeable future. How do the rest of you guys go about trying to pick up that slack?
Just handle your business. At the end of the day, you can only control the day that you pitch, and every time you take the ball, it's about keeping us close. So we've got some really talented guys, and some young, and some older and with some more experience that know what to do in those situations to be able to be best prepared to go out there and win that ball game.
Do you have any game day, start day superstitions?
I would call them a little bit more routines than superstitions. I think early in my career there were probably superstitions where if I didn't do it, I would think that the whole start was going to fall apart. But now it's just more things that I like to do just to create some sort of routine. But if I don't get to them, or if I got to make an adjustment, I'm not sitting there freaking out about it.
So it's not the same meal every time. If you don't eat it, then you're just not
clean,
good as well?
Clean meals. I don't want to have any, nervous stomach or anything like that on the mound.
That makes a lot of sense. Now, when you first signed with the Yankees, you were excited about working with Matt Blake and kind of diving in even deeper to your repertoire. Have you tweaked anything already this spring that you think is going to help you in this upcoming season?
There have been some adjustments that we've been making, some things that I've been working on. Hopefully it turns into good results, but I'm excited to kind of see how things go.
Where do you think the ceiling is? Because you've had a ton of success, and the fact that you believe there's still more there, where is that ceiling for you?
I don't know. I'm going to just try to make the most of every opportunity that I have, and for me it's just about being consistent, taking the ball and getting as deep into the game as I possibly can, and kind of repeating it. But for me, it's as simple as what do I have to do to win this game today? And if I'm doing that, I'm doing my job, and we're happy, and trying to roll it into the next one.
How would you describe Max Fried on the mound?
I want to compete. I'm a competitor. I'm very competitive, and don't want to take any pitches off. I get a lot of ground balls and want to keep the defense involved, trying to get in the dugout as quick as possible so we can go out there and score runs.
What is one thing that you want Yankees fans to know about you that they may not know?
For me, it's all about winning. That's all I really care about. I don't really care about how my personal stats are. At the end of the day, it's a team game. I've got a lot of people that help me have success because I just throw the ball and then the ball goes in play, and I've got a lot of teammates behind me that make the plays. But I hate to lose, and I want to go out there and I'll leave everything out there, just try to win the game.
People in the Bronx are going to like that answer. Hey, what do you expect that crowd to be like in the Bronx?
I've been to Yankee Stadium a couple times. Obviously, being in the National League, it's more so recently we've been able to do kind of the back and forth, but it was once every 6 years of being able to go there. So, the times that I've been there, it's always electric. There's a buzz and a special energy in Yankee Stadium, and you feel that on the opposite side. So I can't even imagine what it feels like putting on the pinstripes and feeling it.
I'm bad. 345.
0. I respond to everybody.
0.
5. Maybe. Currently, I would say about 7.
None. 0.
1,024. But we gotta remember, these people are sending texts like every day and stuff. So you multiply 1,000 by 24 by about 10 to 15. So about 15,000 missed.
Oh, I keep it very low. Usually 0 or 1. I try to get them out of the way.
That's only on that app. That's the only messages. But WhatsApp, 6,000. So together, 25,000.
Close to 5,000?
1,120. None, actually. I just click on them and just so they don't show up as a notification.
What movie have you rewatched the most?
The movie I have rewatched the most is Italian Job, Mark Wahlberg.
I'd say The Sandlot.
The Sandlot, I guess?
Probably been Avengers, because Bo likes watching Thanos.
It's every day with you guys.
It's called Question of the Day.
Oh, good point.
Star Wars, Revenge of the Sith.
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers.
Transformers.
Toy Story or Moana 2 is making huge headway. Shout out, daughter.
Welcome back once again to Inside the Yankees. I'm Bob Lorenz. We close out our premiere episode with a bit of baseball history. Our Jack Curry's years on the beat have gotten him a front row seat to some of our game's legends. This time, it's former Yankee Dwight "Doc" Gooden.
Hey everyone, Jack Curry here, and welcome to another edition of Jack's Packs. In my hand today, I'm holding a pack of 1990 Topps baseball cards. I actually started covering Major League Baseball in 1990, so this should be very interesting, except for one factor. If you think there is any way that I am putting this near my mouth to chew, the answer is no. I will not be doing that. We're going to go through these cards, we're going to find a card, and I'm going to tell you a cool story about one of these players. Wow, we're starting off with a Hall of Famer, Barry Larkin. We're going to Bobby Witt, whose son these days is getting more attention than perhaps he got. We've got Kevin Brown, who had some time with the Yankees, Charlie O'Brien, one of David Cohn's favorite catchers ever, Jay Tibbs, Doc Gooden. We might have a leader in the clubhouse here in terms of stories. We've got Vance Law, Bryn Smith. You hated to get this when you were a kid. Some kind of checklist, sign up for something. Who wants that? Come on. We've got player Ruben Sierra, had some time with the Yankees. Tom Candiotti, Jeff Jackson, Andy Van Slyke. I'm rushing through these because I'm going to go back to Doc Gooden. And the story I want to tell about Doc Gooden, though he's got a Mets uniform on in this card, it's his time with the Yankees. He made over 300 starts as a Met and was dynamic. If you go back to his days with the Mets, it was an event when Doc pitched. He had to resurrect his career with the Yankees, and guess what happens? 7th start ever for the Yankees, Doc Gooden throws a no-hitter. I was in the press box that night covering it, and it was hard to separate that you were watching Gooden in a Yankee uniform because I had watched him for so many years dominate with the Mets. A couple things about that no-hitter. The lineup that he shut down was incredible. You had Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez, Jay Buhner, That lineup actually, when all their players' career was done, more than 2,300 career home runs, and Gooden held them without a hit. And then the other emotional part to this is afterwards, Gooden let everyone know that his dad was undergoing heart surgery the next day in Florida, and he was flying down to be with him, and he was taking a baseball to be with his dad. So as much as the no-hitter and the action on the field resonated with me, the personal story resonated as well. You couldn't help, even as a jaded journalist, even as an objective journalist, you couldn't help but be really happy for Doc Gooden that night.